As you may already know, there are three types of table relationships in a database system. You have one-to-one, which is pretty uncommon, one-to-many, which is the most common type of relationship, and many-to-many, which is exactly what we're going to discuss today. If there's one thing that makes databases useful, it would definitely be table relationships because it gives meaningful associations between data from different tables.
Yes!
AppSheet is like a hybrid between spreadsheets and relational database systems. And this is what makes it so easy to develop application systems in AppSheet using simple formulas or expressions like a spreadsheet, but create connections between data tables, making it behave like a database. I am your AppSheet Pinoy expert, JP, and just like many of you, I work with a mountain of data trying to match, compare, and analyze information saved in multiple Microsoft Excel spreadsheets and or Google Sheets. I am so full of sheets. And this video will also be a response to a comment or a question made by one of our subscribers named Magnus Goran's son, 9564, whatever that means. Okay, wherein his question was about a use case where you want to keep a track of a wide variety of projects and project members, where a member can be part of many projects and a project can have many members. And you are right, Magnus. This is indeed called a many-to-many relationships, and we will explain that in this video. So, Magnus Goran's son, thank you for your comment or your question. And knowing that this may also be a question from our other subscribers or viewers, then I decided to make a video to demonstrate it. And speaking of viewers and subscribers, did you know that only 22% of our viewers are actually subscribed? So if you are a viewer and you're not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Huh? Kidding aside, if you've gotten any value out of my tutorials, then please help my channel grow and hit that subscribe button. You can leave out the bell notification if you don't want to get any notifications from my channel, but your precious subscription would mean a lot to me. Let's dive in. A many-to-many relationship simply means that Table 1 can have one or more records from Table 2, and Table 2 can have one or more records from Table 1. So it's just vice versa. And the simplest way to demonstrate this is to use the actual example given by Magnus Goran's son. So here we have a list of projects, and each project have multiple members, and a member can have one or more projects. So here we have two tables. We have the projects table and we have the members table. So we've already added our non-negotiable columns as we've discussed in our best practices video. If you haven't seen that video, you know what to do. So it's very simple. Our projects list, we just simply have the project identifier, the name and the description of the project, the target delivery date, and the status of the project. And of course, a project can have one or more members, so I'll leave that blank for now. And then of course, we have working in the background, the date added and the added by. The members, on the other hand, would simply have the email address as the key or the unique ID, and we just have the name of the user and the team that they belong to. Okay, so we've simply imported the two sheets as tables in our application, right? So we have the members and the projects table. I've set the email address as the key for the members table and the name as the label. And then for our projects, I've already set up our column types as well and already set up our initial values for our non-negotiable columns as what we have demonstrated in our best practices video. So if you look closely into our app, let's zoom it in a little. If I go to the details of our first project and edit that using the form, right? You can see that I've already set up my form the way I wanted it to appear. And right now, the members field or column in our sheet is currently empty. So what we want to happen is that for this project, there can be one or more members. Initially, what you may normally think of is to make it a drop-down multi-select list. So that's what we're going to do, right? So we click on the members column settings, turn it into an EnumList. And instead of adding values one by one, we will just say allow other values and autocomplete other values. Make it a base type text and make it a drop down. And then we want our item separator as a comma and a space. And then for our data validation or a valid if, we want it to go to the members table and give us a list of the email addresses, which would be the key that would be saved in the Google Sheet. But since the name is what I assigned as the label for this table, then it would be the name that would be appearing in my drop down instead of the email, right? Let's save that. Done and save. There you go. So now we can see that our members field is already a multi-select drop-down list. So I can say this project has users 1, 2, and 3 as the members. And let's save that. So somewhat it gave us a one-to-many relationship, if you would think about it. But if you look into the details of our app, you can see that it doesn't really give us anything except that it gives us a list of the different members of my project separated by a comma. And the thing, it also shows me the actual key, which is the email address, because what we used is an EnumList plus base type text, right? So it doesn't really created a connection, which is why instead of the label, which is the username being shown to us, it's actually showing us the key, because that's what we told AppSheet to provide us as a selection, right? Plus, it doesn't also address the part where a member can have one or more projects that they belong to. Because as mentioned earlier, only a ref type column create the actual connections between tables in our app. So therefore, this doesn't really give us anything useful in terms of a database system. And if we look into our members, right? So let's go to our members. Here, it doesn't even give us any information that this member is actually part of any project at all. So how do we fix that? How do we ensure that a connection would be made where a project can have one or more members and a member can be part of one or more projects? Creating these many-to-many relationships actually is not possible at all. I mean, figuratively. And in order for us to create these many-to-many relationships in our app, we have to be using a link table that would act as a link between the projects and the members, so that our projects with the project ID as the key and the members with the members ID as the key or the email would be linked together using this link table. So we'll assign it a link ID. And the project's ID would actually have a many-to-one relationships with our link table. In our link table, we have a one-to-many relationship with our members table. Then, of course, we can just add, additional columns as we please. In fact, maybe we can actually even use this link table as our tasks table and assign it a task ID, so that a project can have multiple tasks and each task can be assigned to a member. Make sense? So let's implement that. Alright, so we've created our tasks table, which would be used as a link to create the many-to-many relationships between our projects and our members table, right? So we simply put it a task ID, give it a task name, the deadline for the task, the status for the task, and then we will have one-to-many where only one member can be assigned to a task, right? For this project at least. Then, of course, we would need to have the project ID in order to link to the projects table. So the member assigned would be our link to our member's ID, and then the project ID, of course, is a link to our project ID. So let's import that. to our app. So let's just add this table. Here you are. So let's go to our task tables and set it up. So our task ID would be our key, and the task name would be our label. Makes sense. But this is not actually a name. It's just text. And then let's set up our task ID as our key, but I want a prefix. It says task, right? And I want to make the unique IDs in uppercase. And this is exactly what we did in our best practices video. And then for the project ID or the task status, let's have the task status. Maybe let's put an EnumList, and we'll just manually add the different statuses for this, right? Yes. And this is a text. And I want to use buttons for this. Okay, so we don't need to put a valid if expression because we've actually added the values already, right? So let's save this. And then now to create that many-to-many relationship, we will make the members assigned as a ref pointing to the members. There you go. And we'll make the project ID a ref pointing to our projects table. Then we'll save it. All right, so now that we have added the two reference columns to our projects and members, you can see that AppSheet actually already created the connection. So if we go over to our members table, we can actually see that AppSheet automatically created the virtual column, which is the related tasks. So it automatically added that S. No? Nothing that simple display name can resolve. So just call it related tasks. There you go. I don't know. I can just basically rename this here, but I can't remember fully. But I think it created some issues with my apps before. Anyways, so let's see our members and look at user 1, and you can see that it actually has the related tasks table already there. And if we go to our projects table, then we should also see the related tasks in there. So we'll just do the same. Related tasks. There you are. Let's save it for now. Then if we go to our projects view, we should see that there should already be a related tasks appearing in this project. And if we go to our members view, then it should also have the related tasks. So now the projects and the members table would be meeting in the tasks table. Okay, so that means we also do not need this members column in our projects table. So we can just delete that. But don't forget to regenerate the table in AppSheet, just to make sure that the members column we deleted would not be read by AppSheet in its cache servers, as you can see here. So now, when we go to our project, and we can already add a task in there. So we have our planning, and this should be done by today. And then it's not started. And then we can assign this to user 1. There you go. Then we have this project ID many-to-many, which is exactly what we want, right? And that's already pre-filled by AppSheet because it already detected that we went in through the tasks form from the many-to-many projects. You may think that you don't want this project ID to be appearing here. So we can just go to our projects table. Oh no, in our tasks table. And let's just hide it. There you go. Makes sense now. Let's save it. Let's go back to it. And you see the task name. And then you see the member assigned. Now, maybe we want to rearrange how the related tasks subtable, or we call this actually an inline view, appears. So let's go into our views and then find the system generated tasks, and you should see that there is an inline view. The inline view is actually a system generated view that AppSheet creates every time you create a connection between tables using ref type columns.
Yes!
Okay, so we'll go here, and as you can see, it's a table, which is exactly what you see here. And then the group aggregate, we'll set it as count, which gives us this little number that you see there. Oops, what happened? Okay, that little number that you see there, counting the number of tasks. And then the column order, as a default, AppSheet just displays all the columns in the inline view, with the exception of the label being frozen in the very first column, right? So we can just simply reorder that. And let's say I just need the task name. I don't need the task ID. Maybe just give me the assigned, and then give me the deadline. Now just give me the status. So I think this 3 information is already enough for us. So let's save it. And let's go back to our projects. And yeah, it's much cleaner now, right? Okay, let's add another task here. So we're gonna do the video shoot. And say the deadline would be tomorrow. It's also not started. So might as well I assign not started as the initial value for this task status, right? And then the video shoot would be done by user 2. Save it. There you are. And then we're gonna have to do the editing. Save it. There. I think that's enough examples for now. If we go to our members view in our menu and go to user 1, you can see that user 1 actually shows the related tasks for the project, which is planning. Now, what's interesting here, it just shows the task directly, but maybe it would be a good idea to tell the user looking at this view what this project is about. So how do we do that? Now, this is very tricky, right? So let's go back to our tasks and show the project ID once again. Then to our task view, that should be available to us already. This one here. Here we are, that makes sense, but I don't like it to be saying project ID. So let's go back to our tasks view and give it a display name. Instead of project ID, I want it to say project. Let's make it all caps. Project. There you go. Save it. And let's see it. If I go back to members, and look at user 1, then there you go. It shows me the project, then the task. However, since we're using the same inline view, if we go back to our projects, then that should also show me the project name here. So we have a dilemma. We want it to appear in our user's view, but we don't want it to appear if we're looking at the project's view. Is that possible? Of course it is. So if you want to learn how to do that, then you better watch out for our video in customizing detail views, because we would do exactly that. And we're actually going to use the same application so that we'll have continuity. Okay? So let's leave it like that for now. Now, to show you that this is actually many-to-many, so now we have a project that can have one or more members, and each member is assigned a task. Let's add another member and task in our conditional formatting project. There you are. So I think that's enough for now. So let's go to our members screen. And if you go to user 1, then you can see that there are 2 tasks that belongs to different projects, essentially creating our many-to-many relationship. So there you are, Magnus Goran's son. I hope this video has helped you understand this many-to-many relationship in AppSheet. And in our next videos, we will actually be building on this app. We will talk about the context expression, so we can hide or show components of our views depending on certain conditions. We will also talk about conditional formatting, where we can format text in the different views in our app depending on certain conditions. Then we'll talk about customizing our detail views using HTML and markdowns. And finally, we will create a custom home screen so that we can help our users navigate through our app more intuitively. So I hope to see you on the next video. And again, if you have not subscribed yet, subscribe now. I'm your AppSheet Pinoy expert, JP, saying you and me and all of us, we're all full of sheep. See ya.